I started the stream a moment too early, and so I'll be on in just a second. There we go. And are we live? Yes, cool. Hey, what's up, Hacksters? It is Teardown Tuesday, and today's theme is that sometimes to go forward, you have to go backwards a little bit. So I've been at Maker Faire this year, Maker Faire Bay Area, RIP. I debuted Archimedes 2, which is the upgraded version of my robot owl familiar, who first came into being for Maker Faire Bay Area last year in May. And so this version is a little bit different. He is going to be running more on sound rather than video stuff. So previously, he was using the Google AI Vision Kit to detect emotions and then respond accordingly. And all he would really do is sort of change the color of his LED button and then make a little bit of boop or bit of boop, depending on what emotion he saw. And I wanted to make him a little bit more directly interactive. So what he would do before is like do this random movement thing, and this one still does that. But in place of his previous AIY Vision Brain, this one has a Matrix voice controller, which has an LED ring built in, but also a set of a microphone array so that he can tell directional sound. And basically the Matrix voice and the Matrix creator are two boards that are designed to make it really easy to build your own voice assistant. So you can run Alexa or Google Home on it, but you can also set it up with Snips.ai or Mycroft, which are two very open, privacy-focused ones, and that's what I wanted to promote with this, rather than sticking with the sort of, the standard big companies and stuff, and you don't know what's going on with the data. That said, the original did not connect to the internet specifically to start conversations around privacy and stuff. But yeah, there's more conversations to be had. So this guy, it turns out that I was having some kernel panics when I ran the chirp listener script on this guy. So chirp is the other thing that he's going to be running. And basically, what happens with that is that I've talked about this a bunch, so I'm going to do it really quickly. It's data over audio. It sounds like R2-D2. You can talk it with your phone. You open up Chirp Messenger, and then you say like blue or whatever, and then you hit send, and let's make that a little bit louder. It sounds like that. And other machines can decode this, or your phone can decode it. So he's going to be able to speak and understand chirp eventually. It's been a little bit of a rocky road, but we're getting there. And the whole idea is that he's going to be able to speak and listen to other robot familiars. I know that some other people are also really excited about this, so I can't wait to get the tutorial out. Yes. Some recent encouragement from Oddj, and I think Barb Noren is going to be working on one as well. So it's time to do the thing. The problem was that apparently this listener script runs perfectly on a Raspberry Pi, like a full one, like a Model B, but not so great, at least in my experience, on the Pi Zero. So I've actually torn that out of his head already. And at Teardown Conference, I was playing around with this, and Alvaro helped me think of some ways to, like, how in the world could I fit a full Pi inside his head? I couldn't. Like, I already had to do some special little hollowing out things in order to get these moonstones to fit, and the Matrix voice. Actually, the voice was the problem. But if I abstract, see, look, it's not happening. I could make his head bigger, but I don't want to, and that would add a lot of weight to his head. So instead what I'm doing is I'm going to put it in the base and just add an extender cable to connect the Pi to the Matrix voice in his head. And that means undoing a lot of the work that I've previously done. But I think it's going to be better because not only that, but I can make better cable management. This is a disaster. It's better than Archimedes 1, but it's still bad. And also, this frees up, speaking of the Matrix creator, I've upgraded this other robot, 3PO, to use the Pi 4. And so now I'll have two little robot assistants. 3PO is ideally going to be able to stream to Twitch directly and just do live streams all the time. And he has a built-in ring light and stuff because the Matrix Creator also has built-in LEDs. And I could even put in like an NFC authentication system because he's got an NFC reader. Okay, okay. Back to the main robot here. This is Archimedes. Yeah. So these are some breakouts for the servos. Those are gonna still have to be there. I think I'm gonna flip around the matrix voice because I want this wire connector. It's gonna have to run down to the base, and I want that in the back. So fortunately, I just stuck that in place with hot glue, and it's even kind of, it's loose already. It's not like stuck to the matrix, or pardon me, the voice. So I can just kind of pull that out with my side cutters here, my all-purpose chomp things up tool. And basically I've 3D printed a replacement base that integrates a Pi enclosure from Thingiverse into the previous, into the shoulder mount that I had before. And this does get rid of my GoPro system that I was using. I decided to put a standard GoPro mount on him so that he could be easily changed between different mounts. But to be honest, I don't use that feature at all, so he might as well just have one static mount for the shoulder. Plus he tends to fall over forwards because of the way the weight was distributed. Look at this. Oh yeah, I did some really beautiful stuff with the cables in here, by the way. I'm actually proud of that. This is a button that's also torn out from a Google AIY voice kit, actually. And so it has built-in wires to the LEDs, or it has built-in contacts for the RG and B parts of the RGB diode LED on here. So the button can light up different colors. And also it has the two button connectors. So, or wait, is that the button? No, I lied. The gray one here is for the button, and then this is the power to the LEDs, and then this is the ground for everything. So that's really nicely set up right now. And all I have to do really is flip this around. So I do it one more turn or one fewer? I'll do one more. There we go. So now these servo wires are coming out the front, but I can pretty easily tuck those under, I think. I might want to make a change with that though. Maybe if I just cut off sort of the front of this connector. Why is this servo so loose? To be honest, I'll just fix that with some hot glue. It's like, it's still stably attached, so it just needs a little bit of stabilization. Cool. And then that'll be happy. Hot glue is nice because, as you saw a second ago, it's, oh boy, it's not super permanent. Let's just undo this. Speaking of teardowns. Oh boy. Well, close enough. So this is gonna go in the back. Hey. Hey. Yeah. Getting this to fit in here. Oh, but it's an easier challenge now because I'm not putting a Pi as well in the head. It's just gonna be, I'm gonna flip this around the other way actually because I think it'll hate me less. So basically now I just need to put this in there and it doesn't have to go nearly as deep, which is nice. Actually, someone mentioned that I might want to make the eyes individually controllable. So basically they just are these moonstones, which I'm using as diffusers for the LED ring. And if I wanted to be able to control them separately, I could just turn on half the LEDs at a time, but they would still have light leakage. But if I put a divider down the middle, then that would allow me to have him like wink. Which I think I should just do that, because what I need right now is a stabilizer. I need something to mount this onto the Matrix voice so that it doesn't just fall into his head like that, you know? So I think I'll do that. Nice. This does not have to be plugged in via USB. It will just connect to the Pi via this connector. So that's a nice fit, at least. I just need to stabilize it. So what should I put inside? Let's figure that out. And at the same time, I need to figure out how to fit this onto there, because right now there's these wires coming on and running into the head mount. I could just mount his head super forward, but then I don't really like that. So I think I will trim down this head mount. If you look in the links in the description to this video on Facebook, you will be able to find the link to Archimedes 2. And if you go to bit.ly/robotowl, you can find Archimedes 1's tutorial. You can also just go to my profile from there, Hackster.io/glowasky, and it will pull up. It'll show this as well. So here's Archimedes number 1. And if you go to my profile, and the projects, I think somewhere near the bottom you'll find this because it's unpublished. Or it's published, but it's unlisted. So, yeah. Oh, and here's some previous stuff with Chirp. For some reason it's published twice. I wonder why. But this was an early prototype for this project where we actually got Archimedes to respond to it before, but that was long ago. Now I'm trying to do it myself. So let's, what do we got here? We've got for the Pi Zero that was in here, I'm going to take out the little micro SD card because that's his brain right now. It's a nice 16 gig one. Yay! And this is just a Pi Zero that has a modification so that the power is attached directly via this USB cable. And that's about it. These are outs for an alternative way of controlling the servos, which would be directly from the Pi, but I found it was easier to control them from within the Matrix script. So that's what these cables are now. It was sort of, you could plug either one in. So I guess I'll have to unzip tie these guys. I might as well just leave that power cable on the Pi Zero. Let's get a little more up close with this. There we go. And going to disconnect these wires. I wrapped the wires around the base here to provide strain relief. Oh, what fell? Oh, that was the micro SD card, I think. Whoops! Ah. Very important. Okay. I mean, I could reprogram him from scratch, but I'm not gonna, because that would be a pain. Alright. So now, we have the Matrix voice in his head, connected to the button there. We've got a power cable for the servo motors, and we have a power cable for the Pi. And the one for the servo motors has this header end onto it, because I found that while I'm testing, sometimes I want to be able to test stuff that isn't the servos, but they're set up to automatically turn on when I turn on the robot. So instead, I've set up this little guy so I can easily disconnect them. Boop, boop. It's easier than building in like a software solution, like push this button if you don't want the servos to start up when the robot turns on. You know, it's way easier this way. Actually, I might reuse this power cable because it's easier to use that than a plugged-in one. I don't want to stress the USB connector on the Pi, but for now I think we'll stick with a micro USB. A full, yeah, cable. So here we have it. Servo motor can be disconnected for now. Doop. This makes things a little bit tidier. So here we have the servo motor cables going from the front of the head. Maybe I'll just tuck those all up inside the head, and we can have the power cable going straight up the back of his neck. That would be nice. And it can be bundled in with the extender for the brain. Now when it comes to extending the connection between the Matrix voice and the Raspberry Pi, that is one of the most challenging things I've come up against. So I had an extender cable, but it was too short, and also as where is it? Oh, it's over here. As Alvaro pointed out, it had the pins flipped. So instead of like you plug it into here and this row is on top and that row is on top, when you plugged it into the other side on the Raspberry Pi, the two rows were flipped. And that's no good. So I'm making my own. I had a couple of ideas for this. So first up, I was like, why don't I take an Ethernet cable and chop it up into 5 pieces, because a 40 pin connector is 5 sets of 8 pins. And so I was like, you know, maybe I'll just cut this thing up into 5 pieces and solder, you know, 8 of these wires to 8 of the pins at a time. That sounds like a huge pain. So what I'm doing instead is creating my own extender cable with ribbon cables. But I'm going to use headers on them anyway so that they all stay in the proper orientation. So on the Pi here, I have a 40 pin connector. And what I'm going to do is just solder these onto there. Don't judge me. I wish I had just like a huge roll of ribbon cable, right? That had a lot of strands, and I could just use the bare ends. But instead, I'm going to do this. It's not optimal, but it'll work, I think. Ugh, it's really not optimal, is it? Oh well. And I'm going to take this one out, actually, for now. Oh, I love it when they do the little click. So this one is Wise Pi. That was in Trio's brain. I'm going to put a post-it note on that guy so I don't forget what it is. It's very important to document which brain is which. Okay, so. Trio. Cool. And I just stick the post-it note around the micro SD card. There's better ways of doing this. In fact, I have a little multi-micro SD card holder, but I think it's easier to not lose them this way. For me. Also, I can never find actually that organizer for the SD cards. Is it in here? It's like BeagleBone branded. It's super cool, but I always lose it. Case in point. Can't find it now. All right. Now let's see. I was going to make this extender. Yeah. And tear the support material off of this print. Usually I like to do this when the print is super fresh because it's easier. But also you, like, depending on the material, you might actually get some warping if you do it right away. And like how much support there is and how much it's attached. I use a Lulzbot Taz 6, and this is Talman Invent filament, I think. Oh wait, no, I lied. It's Matter Hackers PLA/PHA. And I've been using PLA based filament largely because I heard that you can compost it. And it turns out that is not a simple endeavor, especially for individuals. And I did a whole feature on that last week for Throwback Thursday. So if you're curious about composting or recycling filament, I went through a bunch of the options and what your sort of best choices are last week. And you can find that on Hackster.io/videos, or here on Facebook, or on YouTube, Hackster.io. And yeah. And you too can have these revelations that were hard won. I had to spend like an hour on Google to find this information. It was so grueling. But I don't know, it was really easy to look up, but at the same time it seemed like I could never find the time. So if you are in the same boat, go check that out. I went through a bunch of the different options. There's some really cool stuff out there. There's like, you can get recycled filament. You can recycle your own filament. There's even a filament recycler that has the grinder built right in so that you just drop pieces of plastic in there. I mean, hopefully all the same type of plastic. And then it prints out the other end. Or it extrudes filament out the other end, and you can stick that straight into your printer. And it can do up to like a meter per minute, which is more than you're going to be using in your printer. So maybe to put like an intermediate spooler on there or something. There's one called Filabot that you could maybe install in a makerspace or something. All kinds of options. There's even rescued filament, which I might buy some of, which they found just before it was going to be all thrown away. And this is a roll of PLA that I showed on the video. And so they, ran it through the oven to make sure that it was all nice and dry. And basically we're able to recover all this filament that was otherwise going to be thrown away. And now you can buy it on the website, which I believe is Refilament. But there were a bunch of different ones, so you should check out the video. I should do a blog post on that, actually. Then people could search for it. So mad. Maybe I'll leave this part for later, actually. This is the shoulder mount. So it's just got this like little cylindrical cutout that is so that it can sit on my shoulder comfortably. But I will break this out. This is some support material here. I put this together on Thingiverse on Tinkercad, which I use generally to mash up models from elsewhere and turn them into a new thing. Over time, a model like this that's been modified a lot and mashed up with a bunch of different things will get kind of messy and gross, but it still works fine. It's not like the most pro quality that you're going to get by mashing stuff up in that way, but it's great for stuff like this that mostly is not the star of the show. Archimedes' parts I modeled directly in Onshape. So Onshape.com is a browser-based CAD software thingamajig for 3D modeling. And that is much better if you want to like do precise things that fit together, or scale things or sketch stuff and have that become a 3D design. For simple things like, for example, I designed some feathers to print on fabric. For that, I literally sketched them with a Sharpie marker and then used Adobe Capture to turn that into an SVG, which is a super cool process. It's really useful. And then brought that into Tinkercad because you can import SVGs, and then you just extrude it upwards like a few millimeters, and then you have a 3D model in the shape of your sketch. But that's only if you have like a flat design that doesn't have a lot of complexity. Like literally you're just making a drawing into a pendant or something, which is great. I think that's an awesome option. I've actually done that to make a ring before. Come on, crumple under the weight of my amazing hand strength. I used to use these grip strengtheners in meetings. I still occasionally do. I just avoid meetings. But it's great for when you're stuck in one place and you have the fidgets, which I always do. And especially if you like play an instrument or go rock climbing or whatever, it helps with both of those. You just like grip strengthen away and you can be pretty quiet about it. And then your coworkers are all like, oh, can I try that? Oh, can I use that? And then you don't have it for the rest of the meeting, but it's fine. because then you have points. I feel like I get cool points whenever whenever my colleagues grab an idea. Like yoga balls. Everyone loves the yoga balls. I sit on yoga balls during meetings so that I stay awake. Again, it helps with the fidgets. Everyone loves them. You just gotta be okay with being a little bit weird. Or a lot weird. Let's be honest. This is, I haven't got the settings quite dialed in on this printer, so like this is not great. But it's a fast print, and this is like, it's a large print, and I do print them overnight, but you know, this would take for freaking ever if I were to just put it on 0.1 millimeter and mess around to get all the settings perfectly dialed in. So it's not perfect yet, but again, this part is going to be on my shoulder, not the start of the show, and that's fine. I did orient these pieces on the printer so that they have, you know, the nice smooth sides facing up. Nobody's going to be looking at the other parts. Clearly I haven't been doing my grip strengthener. There we go. This will also toughen up your hand skin. It's like, you know, mashing your hand into Legos. That whole cliche of like stepping on a Lego and how awful that is. This is basically like that, just with your hands. Because I'm lazy. And so I just want to crunch it all up. There we go. I am going to be putting all this extra support material into a box that I have where I collect my extra filament so that someday I can recycle it. Here we go. Now see, things like this, super gross, but we'll work around it. And it's not going to show. If you want to see some really beautiful 3D printed art, you should check out The Broken Nerd, who does really awesome sort of cosplay and prop remakes, replicas, I guess you could say. And Loom Cluster does really gorgeous custom 3D printed like lacy armor type stuff, gauntlets and everything. It's really beautiful. Yeah, lots of people doing really, really nice 3D printed art around. Oh, here's some. Get out of there. So this sort of wants me to have a, wait, are these supposed to slot together? That's never happening. I don't have the tolerances tight enough for that. I mean, the case is supposed to slot together, but these like standoffs, see how there's these holes over here, and then there's these nubbins over here? That's not happening. I think it's just for registration, or for the pie, I guess. Yeah, no. Well, let's see. How is it supposed to go? It goes like this. Little SD card there. You know, actually that works. I'll leave those on. The other three. That's actually nice and solid. Cool. Nice. And I left in the pin slot over here so that those can show. And over here we've got the USB thingamajigs. Oh, you know what? That works great. Ah, nice. It's always beautiful when that works out on the first try. I feel really smug right now. I mean, I did use someone else's model on Thingiverse, which is linked in the tutorial. Always give attribution. If I had like those little, you know, on-demand sparkles or whatever, I would totally throw those in here. See how this is a little bit bowed up? That's fine. It's fine. It's not gonna show. Yeah. That's why I use a brim on my 3D prints, like this bit that goes around the edge, and yet it's still bowed up a little bit. That's fine though. It's obvious that I really mean that by the amount of times that I have to say, it's fine, doesn't matter. This is really bothering me now. I gotta take this apart. I should do this another time though, because it's just boring. Support removal. Ah. Get off of there. Okay, now this bothers me. There's a loose piece flapping around. There we go. Okay. So we have a Pi 3 Model B inside of a new shoulder mount. His servos are going to attach here. It's going to sit like that. It's going to be great. Yeah. Can't help messing with this. Okay. Now our next order of business is to take these guys and connect them. Because instead of being able to just plug the Pi in, we have to make an extender cable. And then that's where these are going to come in. So I'm going to solder these onto this header extender thingamajig, and also onto a male header on the other side. Because while these could just plug directly into there, there's enough weirdness and sort of back and forthing and whatever that these can get pretty tangled up. So I want to make sure that those are always plugged in the right way. Plus, it's way easier, you know, just to plug in instead of like, you know, it's a pain. Let's see if there's any questions or comments. La 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 la. Hey! Gervasio says, hi from Argentina. Hello. Jay is on. Hey, what's up, Jay? Yeah. We've been talking about this. Jay and I have been talking about like the process of rebuilding our robots and stuff, and I've been talking about how chirp wouldn't run properly on the Pi Zero, at least not my Pi Zero, and so to make that actually work, I need to give him a whole Pi 4, and I've just been wondering about where to stash it. Now I have a place to stash it! Yeah! Eventually I want both of our robots to talk together, as has been the plan. So really stoked to make this actually happen. Okay, so now I need to take Archimedes off of his old mount actually. Oh no, I'm gonna do the rough part first with all the soldering. So let's plug in our soldering iron. Find our solder and brass coil. And then hopefully at some point today I'll actually get to the part of reprogramming. Doop doo. Do 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 do. Martin says, in 5 days I hope to have my Raspberry Pi 4B Plus. No joke. Fantastic. Just waiting for my soldering iron to heat up. Jay says, I'm hoping to have chirp with Aussie V6. Fantastic! Yeah. I'm stoked for that. I've been planning this for ever since I met the chirp guys like a year ago, and working up to it. So I'm excited to publish a tutorial so that everyone can have their chirp robots and they can all talk together. Yeah. In fact, our old designer, Maggie, was really excited about this too. I think, like, as soon as we both met the chirp guys in our office the first time, she was like, oh my god, robots talking to each other. And I was like, oh my god, robots talking to each other. So yeah, it's been such a long dream, and I'm really stoked to make it happen. Oh, come on. Come on, soldering iron. So let's see. We'll start sorting this out. It doesn't matter what color they are. They're all just going to be in a row. This could be actually a little bit difficult to get them all to face the same direction. So what I'm going to do is pull them apart in groups of 5. Or wait. That should work. Wait, how many are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, I did a group of 6 by accident. Okay. Oh, that makes sense, because yeah, they're divided by the usual resistor colors. So you got brown, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, gray, white, black. Cool. That will help with keeping track of where I am as well. Do I really need it? Yeah, I should attach them to headers on both ends. So what, we've got these two guys. I'll just replace the header extender in there once I've got that down. Just move that all out of the way and set up 3PO over here. My headers. I really need to make that claw more stable. This is 3PO. He's the one running the Matrix voice, or Matrix creator. I forget which one is which. So it's got a more intense 35 LED ring, as well as the same Xilinx FPGA that's on the back here, as the voice also has. And he's got a little camera here, and so he's going to be able to, on a voice command, turn on the ring light and then also take video or pictures. So he'll be able to help with documentation, like documenting whatever is in his hands, and also just streaming to Twitch. Super stoked on that. Okay, I think we should be good on soldering iron temperature, so let's get started. Ooh, this iron is looking really corroded. Like, it used to have a pretty thin tip. Well, that's actually okay. Yeah. Yeah, ever since last November, I've been trying to figure out different ways of making chirp work with these robots. And one of my ideas is, like, the chirping hat was kind of a prototype for a wrist-mounted one that I want to make. And I've got, oh no, bridging. Stop. And I've got a couple ideas for that, but I just got my hands on this little module that I think will change the game. Thanks to the folks at Teardown for helping me decide what kind of audio module would be best for a little sort of self-contained chirp module. That's really exciting. And I hope to get that out as a tutorial soon as well. Trying to tin these and make sure that it's actually well tinned, but without melting the plastic holder for the headers, because that's definitely a thing that happens. And then your pins get all out of whack. Let's tin these as well. I've just bent up the cable so that they all sort of sit up. I'm curious to see what other, like, Raspberry Pi cable extenders people have seen, because this doesn't seem like the best way to do it. And I'm totally down to upgrade again in the future. But for now, it does the job. Yeah, if you check out the past videos, there's another one where I tried to make a standalone chirp module with the Adafruit Halo Wing, and it worked for like the 10 minutes that it took to shoot the video. And then after that, it stopped working. Like, the Halo Wing would still play the files, but neither my phone nor the robot would recognize them. So it's been a kind of a long road. And yeah, hopefully this will work better. I guess I'll do it this way. I'll decide the orientation later on. Actually, I probably should have started from the left since I'm right-handed. Huh, oh well. These should all fit in here side to side. Oh! 3PO is actually alive right now, but like not programmed with any servo code. So for some reason, every once in a while he just twitches. Don't really get it, but yeah. Ooh, are these actually gonna fit? Yeah. Okay, cool. Maybe I'll just solder them on the outside. Then they'll... Gonna bend these a little bit. In case you're wondering, this third-hand based robot was called Trio until this past weekend. I've got a stream where I, from last Friday, I think, or Thursday, where I was messing around with him, putting the Pi 4 in fact, and I decided to change it because people hear Trio and they don't think of that in relation to him being a third-hand based robot, which I think is the coolest thing about him. If you're... Because look, he's totally a helping hand. Which is why he was called Trio. Oh! Petulant little guy. He doesn't like being talked about in the third person. Ha 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 ha. Sorry. Lame jokes. I do terrible jokes all the time and I'm not embarrassed, but I hope it goes down okay. Yesterday I made a stupid joke about Australia because we got the diode mag in, which is DIY ode, like diode but DIY. Yeah. This is not fitting super great. I wonder if I should cut these off, but then it'll be shorter. Ah. Well, I'm halfway through almost, and we are getting a little bit of fanning out, but I think they'll be okay. And I held the magazine upside down in a photo because I was like, ah ha ha, because Australia, and nobody got it. Either that or they just thought that it was a terrible joke. But once I explained it, people enjoyed it. I don't know. Anyway, what I'm saying is this is a bad joke zone, and I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Oh boy. Hey! Stop! Do I have to unplug you? Maybe I should just pick a more stable surface for this. You go into your corner. Clearly he doesn't feel like working today. And actually I think I might come back to this because it's time for me to go pick up my lunch. Now I'll finish these ones at least. Gotta do that. Okay. And I'm just gonna be very careful not to get my fingers in amongst the hot parts because that would be bad. Not that that hasn't happened 8 million times already. Ooh, this pin is coming off, actually. This header, when I cut it, these two end pins got a little bit exposed. So I could just put some epoxy or hot glue on that, but I don't know. Gonna have to deal with it somehow. So these will fit in, I just have to apply pressure. This is not a good way to do this. I'm gonna come back and figure out a better way to do this because this is really suboptimal. I thought it was gonna be a hack, but it's like, it's a hack that isn't even working that well. So I'm gonna come back to this after lunch and see what I can figure out. Today is pretty busy, but I'll try and come back this evening and do some more cool stuff with it. All right, let's see, give another quick check to the comments. Yeah. Jay, if you publish the chirp thing before I do, I'll be so mad because I've been trying to make this happen for ages. But yeah, we'll see what happens. All right. I'm still excited to have all the robots talk to each other, though. All right. See y'all. I'll catch you later. Have a great rest of your Teardown Tuesday if I don't see you again. And we'll be back soon. Ciao.